Well, everyone, it's time for us to go ahead and take a look at the iPhone 12 Pro and see how this phone holds up in the middle part of 2022. Now, what I'll definitely tell you is I have some strong opinions about this device, as some of you may know, but it wasn't a bad phone. I used this up until last year, in September or October when the iPhone 13s came out, and I enjoyed this phone for the most part early on. It wasn't really that big of an upgrade from my 11 Pro. However, a big thing with the battery health, degraded like crazy. My 13 Pro is doing much better, and there have been some movements with this specific phone since it originally came out, even since my early 2022 review of this thing. Now, starting off with the body, obviously not much has changed, still looks really good. This phone still feels and looks very, very premium, like one of the most expensive phones Apple has ever made. What's really cool though, this phone has gone down in value a little bit, so you can realistically still buy this phone for much cheaper than what it was going for, previously $1,000. They've gone down a little bit, even from earlier on this year. I've noticed most iPhones have gone down about $100 on average for the base models, anywhere from like $60 to $100. So I think that's a pretty cool thing. I will tell you though, there have been a lot more things that have changed with this device other than just the, price tag. The camera still looks great, the back still looks great. Everything about this phone is still very, very, awesome from the outside. Internally, this thing does have that Apple A14 Bionic chip inside of it with 6GB of RAM, which personally I still think is more than enough RAM to have. I still think this is a very fast phone. And one of the biggest changes that have happened with this iPhone since its initial release, even early on this year, was the next iteration of software. This is iOS 16. Now, luckily for us, for everyone who was on iOS 16 or plans on updating probably in the next few months, the good thing is iOS 16 is pretty much bringing all the features over to the iPhone 12 Pro. So I think that's a really good thing. If you wanted to go ahead and pick up an iPhone, well, the 12 Pro is going to be one of those devices that are pretty much going to support all of the features within iOS 16. Now, there's still some chances that once iOS 16 officially comes out a little bit later, I'm sure there's going to be some features that Apple's going to cut out. On top of that, it's looking like Apple's probably going to go ahead and limit the landscape Face ID to the iPhone 13 series, which is annoying, but regardless, the 12 Pro got a ton of features within iOS 16. On top of that, there have been some cool things within iOS 16 that this device is pretty much good for, in my opinion. There's a lot of features within it, and I will say the stability so far has actually been pretty impressive. It's not the most stable device of all time on this specific version of software, but I will tell you, if you had to go ahead and pick up some sort of device like this, it's still going to be pretty decent in terms of, the stability standpoint. The only issue that I still have with this version of phone, obviously, is the battery health issue. A lot of my iPhones were experiencing this from the iPhone 12 series. I'm not really too sure why this was happening. Hopefully Apple does end up fixing this probably in the future, but it's just one of those things you're going to have to keep in mind at the end of the day, especially if you're planning on buying a used iPhone 12 Pro. From the looks of it, the certified refurbished Apple store that Apple has, they do list that they do have 12 Pros, available whenever they come. But like I mentioned, if you want to go and buy these things, your best bet is probably through the certified refurbished or the used market on other stores. So I will say for the last 6 months since my initial review, this thing still pretty much at the same spot. I think it's a great phone. I think it feels really good and everything. That battery health issue that Apple still hasn't really addressed for the most part is still plaguing a lot of iPhones, and that's probably one of the bigger issues with this device. Other than that, I think it's a really good device. I'm glad I used it. It really wasn't an amazing phone when I had it, but I do think with it growing and maturing, I'm glad that it's going to be getting a lot of the features for the next iterations of software from Apple. So that kind of covers it up. If you have any other thoughts or questions, please let me know in the comment section below. Hit the like button, that would mean so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. More importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out till then.